Hello, and welcome to another episode of Selah Sessions with Pastor Carlos. This will be my last podcast for a little bit because I'll be working on my book, Ripples in the Water. But I wanted to make sure that I share this with you, especially if you are in leadership, if you're going through a season where you feel that your oil has been drained. And that is the topic of this podcast today, when you allow your oil to be drained. You see, every leader has oil. Oil is your anointing, your strength, your wisdom, your time, your resources, your emotional capacity, your prayer life, your finances. Oil is what God gives you to pour into others. But oil is not meant to be siphoned. Oil is not meant to be stolen. Oil is not meant to be consumed without accountability. There's a difference between pouring and bleeding. You see, we can open ourselves to being poured into, but however, we also pour out. And God never called us to be empty. He called us to be poured out with wisdom. There's a difference between sacrifice and self-destruction. There's a difference between helping and caring. There's a difference between covering and being consumed. Many leaders are burnt out, not because they love too much, but because they never learn when to stop pouring. You see, your spirit, your oil is expensive, and it represents this: your spiritual strength, your emotional capacity, your finances, your time, your wisdom, your access, your covering, your relationship. Oil is costly. It produces under pressure and is sacred. The widow in the Bible had oil. The virgins had oil. The priests were anointed with oil. Oil is always connected to purpose. How is oil drained? Well, let's talk about these warning signs. When someone's always needs rescuing, when crisis becomes normal, when dependency replaces discipleship, when accountability is rejected, when correction is resisted, when gratitude disappears, and when entitlement grows, when everything becomes about them. That is when oil starts leaking. Here's the trap that leaders fall into. Leaders are compassionate. They're very passionate, and leaders are merciful. Leaders are servant. But sometimes leaders confuse love with obligation. God never told you to become someone's provider. He told you to make disciples and send them out. Jesus fed the crowds. He healed multitudes. He delivered the oppressed, but he also withdrew. He rested. He protected his assignment. The cost of ignoring your boundaries. Okay, let's talk about this. You're going to have burnt out, resentment, exhaustion, lies, manipulations, exaggerating stories. Both parties, even 3-4 parties, can be guilty of that. Anger, bitterness, loss of joy, loss of peace. You can love people and still need boundaries. The wisdom you gained? Here, I learned that I can love deeply and still say no. I've learned that helping does not mean caring. I learned that covering does not mean control. I've learned that obedience sometimes costs relationships. And I have learned that leadership requires discernment. And I've learned that peace is worth protecting. So here's my closing prayer. Pray for your leaders who are tired. Pray for your pastors who are burnt out. Pray for mentors who feel used. Pray for the servants who are exhausted. Pray that God will restore their oil.